Did you know that elephants can have twins, but the chances of that are slim? And that a real battle for survival in the womb of sand tiger sharks is going on? And that a pig can deliver more than 40 piglets in a row? No? Then you'll like this episode and even more. Today, I'll tell you about record deliveries in the animal world that'll strike everybody. When a foal is born to horses, people can't help but say, "What a miracle!" But in fact, the real miracle happened in 2017 on a farm in California. A mare named Emma gave birth to twins. Many of you are now thinking, so what? Is it something amazing that an animal delivered two cubs at once? Actually, yes. It's a scientific fact that although horses can get pregnant with two foals, it's unlikely that they can give birth to both of them full term. The odds of them surviving are about 1 in 10,000. The whole time a mare is carrying twins, the cubs compete with each other and rob the weaker foal of the chance of survival. Sometimes even veterinarians abort horses to ensure the safety of the mother herself. But in this story, it was decided to leave it alone, and the owners never once regretted it. Emma, of course, did not know that she was carrying twins, and only her maternal instinct helped her in this difficult situation. Soon, the beautiful twins came into the world, Will and Grace. The horses are like two drops of water. They're always together, for better or for worse. The next amazing story with a mother of many children happened in Zimbabwe, and its main character was a lioness. She gave birth to 8 beautiful lion cubs at once. Until then, the record was considered a case in Japan when a wild cat brought an offspring of 6 cubs. Mother heroine named Pasha lives in the local zoo. Surprisingly, she had already had a pregnancy before delivering 8 lion cubs, at which point she gave birth to 2 more. After the first one, the zoo staff put her on the pill for her own good, but against all odds, she managed to get pregnant again. It's a result no one expected. And what's to say, the lioness herself was not ready for it. Pasha just physically could not feed so many cubs, so the zoo staff had to take care of some of them. Feeding was done with the help of bottles. The first weeks the lion cubs were very weak, but the humans managed to foster them all without exception. In fact, what Pasha did is a real heroic act. No matter how you look at it, lions are considered the kings of the beasts for a reason. They're strong not only tactically, but also physically and morally. And lions are also the largest representatives of the cat family living in Africa. They can reach a weight of up to 550 pounds. Although they all look the same to us, the animals themselves perfectly distinguish their fellow animals from the rest. They're helped in this by unique spots on their fur. Although lions are considered kings of the jungle, they prefer to live in savannas where they can hunt their main prey, antelopes. And while we're on the subject of hunting, did you know that it's mostly females, not males, who do the hunting? In addition to preying on food, their main duties include raising their cubs. Representatives of the opposite sex, at this point, think about reproduction and protect territories. But when it's necessary to hunt someone bigger and stronger, then males join the fight. Twin elephant cubs. Like horses, for elephants to give birth to several cubs at the same time is an incredible task. However, a female elephant from Kenya managed to do it. It happened in the reserve in front of the park staff. At that time, it's in 2006 when something like this was observed for the last time, but those elephants died in a few days. The fact is that mothers do not always have enough milk to feed 2 babies at once. The park staff took into account the mistakes of the past and will try to create all conditions for the cubs born in 2022 to live a long and full life. After all, no matter how you look at it, elephants are amazing creatures that cause admiration with their power and grace. They are the largest land animals on the planet, and despite this, they have incredible agility and mobility. One of the most interesting facts about elephants is that they have a phenomenal memory. Even after many years, they can recall places or events that are important to them accurately to within details. This helps them survive in the wild and pass on the knowledge to their offspring. In addition, elephants have a unique communication system that includes not only sounds but also odors. They use different sounds and noises to warn each other of danger or to find mates. and their huge ears can pick up sounds almost 20 miles away. Also, these big guys have a unique system of taking care of their body. They often take mud baths, which help them get rid of insects and keep their skin healthy. In addition, they use their trunks to polish their tusks, which makes them even sharper and more dangerous. Cheetahs. The name of the heroine in the next story is Binghua, and for the first time in the history of the zoo, she gave birth to 8 cubs at once. This happened in St. Louis, USA. Usually, cheetahs give birth to no more than 3 to 4 cubs, but here this figure doubled. The cubs were born on November 27, 2017, but the press wrote about them in 2018. At first, there was a great risk that not all the cubs would survive after birth. They were carefully cared for by zoo staff, and so far, all 8 are healthy. Their mother was the 4-year-old female Binghua, whose name translates from Swahili as champion. She's not only produced a record-breaking offspring, but continues to care for all the cubs with great maternal care. In fact, it's very rare that an animal adapts to such a number of cubs and can handle everything on its own. I thought that because the cheetah is an incredibly fast animal, it has to consume energy, so spending so much time with cubs is definitely not their lifestyle. However, it turns out that there are exceptions. Speaking of speed, did you know that cheetahs can, in theory, accelerate up to 80.8 miles per hour? They have long legs, slender bodies, and small heads, which allows them to reach top speed in a matter of seconds. Cheetahs also have unique pads on their paws that help them push off the ground when running, and long, sharp claws used to grasp prey. They also cannot growl, have a low survival rate. Their females prefer solitude, and they're in the air more than 50% of the time when running. Many people have seen the cartoon about the 101 Dalmatians, but unfortunately it's impossible to give birth to the same number of dogs in real life. But why be upset? A dog from England has set its own, no less surprising record. She delivered 18 puppies at once, 10 boys and 8 girls. It took her 14 hours to do it all. Nellie, that's the name of the Dalmatian mom, is incredibly happy about what happened and gives all of herself to each of the puppies without exception. The dog's owner, on the other hand, is not ready to keep 18 pups at once. She plans to keep one and give the others to good hands. What would you do if you were her? On the one hand, you don't want to separate the mother and her cubs, but on the other hand, just imagine 18 dogs walking around the house at the same time. I mean, they're all gonna grow up. Although, I found one good thing about keeping them all. That way, the landlady doesn't have to worry about a fire. As you know, these 4-legged dogs are fire dogs. In the United States and Britain, they even have a special status and are considered a kind of mascot. Dalmatians are the only dogs covered with spots. Not much is known about their true origin, and as you may have already noticed, they're born white. It takes them about 2 weeks before black spots begin to appear, and a whole year for them to fully develop. And no 2 Dalmatians will ever have the same coat pattern. It's just the way nature's done it. 18 Dalmatians are certainly great, but a German dog from the USA surprised its owners no less. The dog gave birth to 21 puppies in 27 hours. It happened in the state of Virginia. Namine, that's the pet's nickname, was incredibly happy about what happened, especially after the difficulties she went through. According to the owner, they kept this dog spontaneously. Kind people noticed her on the street. The animal was hit by a truck. Her side and pelvis were damaged, but otherwise she felt normal. Her owners immediately picked her up, took her to the hospital, and set her on her feet, then of course kept the animal. Veterinarians said that because of the injuries the dog had received, it would have been impossible for her to deliver cubs. However, either they miscalculated or a real miracle happened. Sometime later, the Great Dane gave birth to 21 puppies at once. According to the owner, she's also not going to leave them all with her. There is simply not much space in their house. The puppies are planned to be sold, and the proceeds will be given to the local animal shelter. In my opinion, this is the most correct, reasonable, and at the same time noble thing to do. Battle of life. But this is not always when the story of coming into being ends positively. During the study of sand tiger sharks, it became clear that although they give a huge offspring, only one or a few cubs reach the final stage. The fact is that brothers and sisters actively devour each other. Only the strongest, most aggressive, and adapted to life individual is born. In all mammals, a number of marsupial, and viviparous fish, embryos develop in placenta inside the uterus. The oviviparous sharks carry their offspring in a different way. In them, 2 ovaries serve as the embryonic organ. They produce eggs, which subsequently fall into the oviducts and are formed into groups of several dozen eggs in each. Then the eggs are fertilized. After that, eggs begin to develop actively. But as soon as these small sharks have teeth, they begin to mercilessly and methodically eat one another. At that moment, the cubs are only 6 to 7 inches long. By the time of birth, they grow up to 3.5 feet. There's usually only one strongest individual left in each group. It's rare that 2 survive. And then when the final choice is made, the shark is free. It's said that because of such a turbulent childhood, sharks of this family are characterized by slowness. They're tired of fussing and chose a life of pleasure. They swim leisurely, eat a variety of bony fish, small sharks, rays, as well as bottom crustaceans. They're not particularly aggressive towards humans, but nevertheless there are known cases of attacks. Angel shark. While sand tiger sharks give birth to only one individual in 100, the angel shark is a different story. At the State Aquarium of Scotland, this fish gave birth to a record number of cubs. During the 3-week labor, she gave birth to 19 babies. Scientists believe this is the only example of its kind in the history of mankind. These fish are on the verge of extinction, and their excessive kindness is to blame. The angel shark is one of the kindest creatures of the ocean, which will never touch anyone, that is, until a man gets pretty brazen. Then it can prove that the word shark in its name is not for nothing. Despite the fact that the jaws of the fish are flat with only 38 teeth, it's enough to shred the limb of any fisherman. However, no matter how strong a shark may be, when it proves to be valuable to humans, there's no stopping this. Its meat is easily digested, and its rough hide is used by artisans for polishing, and this is only a small part of all the useful things she can give to humans. The angel shark has become a tidbit for humans and is now on the verge of extinction. There is also the fact that it takes the female of these species 2 whole years to produce just 1 litter. Snakes. Many people used to think that snakes only lay eggs and protect them as much as possible. But in fact, there are also so-called oviviparous crawlers. They do not lay eggs but carry them inside themselves. A prime example of this is this snake. Her eggs are inside. When they leave the female body, it looks as if the snake fully gave birth to them, just like humans or other mammals. It doesn't look so nice, no doubt, but that's what it is. By this unusual method, the reptile gave birth to 6 crawlers at once, which was an absolute record among local snakes. 4 days passed after the delivery, and the workers of the center, where everything took place, reported to their viewers, informing them that everything was fine with the cubs. Although I don't even know how you can be surprised that a snake gave birth to 6 cubs at once, when right afterwards you hear the story of how some pig from Brazil gave birth to a 41st piglet, and all this in 4 hours. This phenomenal event took place in Faginal dos Guedes farm. The people did not expect such fertility. According to them, because of the large number of piglets, they even had to give some of them to other sows to feed. They say that such a thing could happen due to favorable conditions of keeping this individual. She was regularly fed the best feed, never stressed, and always in a warm and dry room. Raccoon. This case happened to a raccoon from Primori. The raccoon named Nika gave birth to 7 small raccoons at once, which has become a great rarity. This number does not exceed the mark of even 4 cubs. Unlike other stories, this case happened right on the territory of the zoo, so no one was going to give or sell the babies anywhere. For all of them, separate enclosures next to mom were prepared almost immediately so that the cubs had a place to rest and at the same time never lost contact. In fact, it's even great that the cubs were born in such a quantity and in the zoo. After all, when in captivity, they usually lived no more than 3 years. Under human supervision, they can live up to 20 years old. It's hard to imagine how much they'll have time to discuss during this time. Yes, because raccoons can make more than 50 different sounds to communicate. They hiss, purr, and growl, but raccoons are especially talkative when they're competing for food. That's about it. Write in the comments which delivery surprised you most of all. If you were amused, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.